Hello, everyone. Welcome to our boring enterprise Nerdletter Talk. As always, I'm Milena Perfilova, and my partner in crime, Paul Moderman, sitting here. Paul is recovering from the cold, so please bear with us, guys. I mean, I always sound like I have a cold, so that's not news to anyone. But so this is a conversation where Paul and I just get together and chat about subjects that we plan to write in our newsletter that's going to come out next week. And we might have some bonus material to share this time. So sit back and relax and sip a drink of your choice, and we'll share some thought leadership on some ERP
Or
software subjects.
or maybe this content will make you want to have a drink uh after you see what we say.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. All right. So I will go first if that's okay. I'm already going, so if it's not okay, well, that's tough luck. So the first subject for today is strangely uh, Git, and not like GitHub or ABAP Git specifically, but kind of Git as a
Get
concept.
itself.
And if you are a developer who went to school probably in the last 10 years, definitely, maybe a little bit longer, that's probably going to be very basic for you. So obviously, feel free to skip this subject. But for many like myself, obviously, when I was studying, Git wasn't really the thing. And in SAP world, Git, I would say it was just unknown pretty much in general until ABAP Git came along, and even
Yeah.
after that, everyone's like, "Huh, like ABAP what?" Like, and yeah, and I think a lot of people have this type of confusion where, yeah, they equate the whole concept of Git with GitHub or ABAP Git specifically. And I had to do some digging myself because while at least I knew that that Git, Git is different from the rest of those specific websites, I honestly did not really have understanding of some basic concepts. So it's always good to just go back and try to relearn or learn the very basic stuff if you feel like I can't really grasp this. And as always, it's very nice that people on Reddit have those really nice explanations, like explain like I'm five.
Yeah.
I really like this post, and in particular, and I have a link for this so that everyone can read. It's a bit long reading. So this person specifically has a really good explanation using computer games as an analogy. It's like checkpoints in a game, so I really like that, and especially how they went over like all those concepts of Git, like branches, repositories, etc., and they just explained all those step by step. So very nice explanation, and yeah, will be probably very short story. I also have some very nice YouTube video links talking about Git. Fireship had a great video, and some videos about ABAP Git specifically as well. If anyone wants to get like very beginner level information.
This
Uh,
is good. I,
yeah,
I I'm really glad you're doing this because so I've been using Git for probably maybe 11 or 12 years now, but it's been very like off and on. Like if I'm on a
yeah,
project that involves it, I'm in there, but like
yeah,
a lot of times I'm just doing like regular ABAP stuff and this customer doesn't have ABAP Git and they're not using it
yeah,
and this and that, whatever. So like every time I every time I parachute back into a world where there's Git involved, my Google search history is just littered with like Git type questions or now
yeah,
ChatGPT is littered with Git type questions. And I always need the refresher because like
yeah,
it's really cool, but it's just weird enough that if you like look over here for half a second, then look back, you're like, wait, how does
yeah,
so I need to rebase and what is the head? All this kind of stuff is very
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I find myself in the same situation. There are some things like that where you did it, like, oh, cool, move on, and then sometime later, like, I did that before. How did I
What
did
did I
it?
even
What
do?
did I even do? What? So it's yeah,
Yeah.
it tends to be like that. Second story is gonna be about this really nice article from Kent Beck, and Kent Beck is this guy. So he has, has his own Wikipedia article. He's a
Yeah, nice.
very well known software engineer, and probably most of people know him as part of those Agile Manifesto group. But he's done, as you can see, a lot of different type of work. I mean, he's a well known in developer community, so to
Yeah.
developers probably I don't need to explain who he is. And if you don't know, well, that's too bad for you. That's not Ken's problem. So he has his newsletter on Substack that I actually like the name Tidy First. Yeah, that's that sounds very appealing to my kind of OCD tendencies. And so this is not very long article, but he has very interesting idea about what he calls programming deflation. And I really liked as a someone who majored in both computer science and economics, I especially appreciate his kind of thoughts here.
Yeah.
Because my mouse is not working. I have no idea where I cannot scroll. Uh, okay, very weird. Let's try to refresh maybe. Okay, now it's scrolling. Okay, so some computer weirdness. So he actually looks at it in parallel with deflation as economic concept and what he talks about as like programming deflation. And deflation in general, it's like something just getting cheaper and cheaper, and at the end is so cheap that it doesn't even make sense to make it or sell it anymore. And that's in economics, even though inflation is kind of bad too, but deflation can sometimes be even worse. And yeah, so I will not gonna go like over the whole thing, but I do like his observations, and especially here is more of the conclusion, specific kind of suggestions. Well, now that we're in this strange situation, what do we do? And I kind of agree with his points about the tools and integration, and especially this less to develop taste when anyone can build anything. Knowing what's worth building becomes a skill. That's a really good thought there. And
Yeah.
obviously, especially talking about enterprise software, yeah, it's always the thing. Individual programs are commoditized and complex adaptive systems are not. So every time people start talking about, oh yeah, I'm just going to vibe code my own ERP, it just gives a chuckle to anyone who is kind of in the loop on this.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
think I saw this. I think I saw this one go by on Hacker News.
Mm.
So I had read this one and I really liked it too, especially from that, like the Jevons paradox economics
Yeah,
standpoint.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and like if you scroll back down to that little list you were just on,
yeah.
um, yeah, developing taste. Like the only thing I want to add to that is that like I think the taste is like, especially if you live in a world where you can like just tell a computer to vomit out like five different versions of whatever thing you have or you want to have. Taste is like the thing that makes you able to say, oh yeah, column A from this one, column B from this one, now stir that back together and make me the real thing I want, is like that's the thing that makes it all the way different. That's where even if like even let's just say, and this is not the case, but let's just say that AI was like an absolutely perfect junior engineer who
Mm.
always did exactly what you wanted. It would still be on somebody who has more experience or is more senior or whatever to be like, okay, great, you did perfectly, but oh, that doesn't quite actually meet the need of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or or the world has changed underneath us
Mm.
in the 2 hours since we talked about this, or 2 days or whatever. That taste, that like the for lack of a better term, the gut feel of things is something that is still vital to everything going on in software development with things.
Mm.
I mean, I have a question related to this that I'll talk through in my
Mm.
stuff, not with this article, but something else. So this is a good one. I like this.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, really nice article. I mean, it's definitely worth reading for every developer, and maybe subscribing to the newsletter even. All right, my third one, it was a little bit weird. So I had bookmarked a LinkedIn post on this, which caused a lot of controversy. So this one was called "Why Sticking with SAP ECC Might Be Your Smartest Move," and that man, that generated comments, and of course, people just started piling up. Like, what are you doing, guys? This is very dangerous, like recommendation, and people should migrate, and it's dangerous, blah 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 blah. But unfortunately, this article is gone, and not even just this article. I don't know if the whole person's account somehow got deleted. I hope nothing bad happened to
Wow.
them. But like I looked it up and none of their articles can be found. Account cannot be found. So something mysterious really happens there. I don't know. Maybe person just decided to leave LinkedIn after all that kind of backlash that they got on this post. But
Wow.
yeah,
I feel like I don't think I've ever seen that happen before with like a LinkedIn
yeah,
post.
it's
That's
yeah,
crazy. Like I don't think maybe it's not a good idea to publicize this, but
yeah,
I might go back and look at the Internet Archive and see if the Internet Archive has a copy of
yeah,
this thing just because I'm like, holy
yeah.
shit, I want to read this
Yeah,
interesting thing,
exactly.
right?
And to be honest, it wasn't, I would say, obviously controversial title, but I mean, who doesn't do those? You
Yeah.
start with controversy just to get people to
Yeah.
read. That's just typical case. But inside, and I wouldn't say I even agreed with everything in it, but there are some good thoughts that just common sense, and that's just practical, because one of them I think it's what we've been talking about for years is just SAP ECC is just that good. And when you have Toyota Camry or ERP systems, it's like you're just gonna ride it until the wheels fall off. That's kind of your inclination. And I'm definitely not saying to anyone that they should not migrate or update just because I mean that's something that you just need to do eventually because all the software runs its course. It's just the nature of life. It's I mean just like all people die, all software eventually
Yeah.
becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
It that would be definitely I agree that would be probably dangerous advice saying that yeah, you should not do that. But I think he kind of meant it to do it for now. He definitely didn't also did not even suggest that you should just stick for it like till like 2050. And I don't know if that's even would be possible. But anyway, the parts of that article that I agreed with is that you can actually still do a lot with SAP ECC.
Yeah.
And that might be not necessarily like, oh, we're not going to migrate because we can still do stuff with SAP ECC. It would be more like while we are kind of still kind of mulling about it and thinking what's the best timeline, because that timeline surprisingly keeps getting extended these days. I mean, there are some options to run till 2030 even, um, which probably because some customers just might want to delay it slightly
Yeah.
further.
Yeah.
But in any case, even if you're preparing for migration and you have migration on horizon in maybe year or two is still a pretty long time for your
Yeah.
users,
Yeah.
especially if they're dealing with some crappy stuff on daily
Yeah.
basis. If someone told me like, okay, in 2 years you're gonna get a great tool, but today I can give you slightly, slightly less great tool, but it will improve your quality of life, you would be like, yes, immediately.
Yeah.
I, no
A
person
hundred
would ever
percent.
say no to that. So there are lots of things you can do. So that's kind of what my message would be on this. I'm just sad that we cannot read because it was honestly objectively good article. At least it was much better than AI slobs that gets posted.
Yeah.
But Paul, go ahead.
No,
I give you
I have
your
two thoughts that were
yeah.
bubbling in my head as you're talking.
Mm-hmm.
One is like just at the surface level of like just reacting to the title of that. For me, in the work I do, the customers I work with, like I my I have this reaction that's like if the customer is asking me, "Hey, should I just like not do S4?"
Yeah.
Like I would, but I kind of have two little gut things going on. One is like, well, I would never recommend that you go out of support with your stuff, but like, if you do, I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like it would be like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, or at least if you went a little bit beyond the 2027 date or whatever, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you do, I get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
The other one is, do you remember this guy? Not this David Hilcher guy, but there was
Mm-hmm.
this guy who used to publish especially the unspoken truth. Why might be your smartest? Why they are not your business? Like there used to be this guy out there who was posting all these gadfly things about like poking
Mm.
SAP and Oracle and whatever.
Mm.
His name was Sean something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Remember that
that's
guy?
famous role. Yeah, he kind of
Yeah,
disappeared.
he
Yeah,
disappeared. And like, and
yeah,
in my head, I was like, did he like change his name a little bit and resurface
yeah.
here or what?
I
I don't
yeah,
think so because it sounds like this guy here probably wrote like something somewhat better quality stuff
Yeah.
rather than like
Yeah.
gigantic screed or whatever. But
Yeah.
like it reminded me of that. Like the vibe of the title
Yeah.
reminded me of the vibe of the titles of
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Where I think maybe the same assassin squad dispatched both of these guys or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah, I know the person you're talking about.
yeah.
It's yeah, he's disappeared like a few years ago already.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering because he was a major nuisance to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, I mean, you need to hear different points of
Yeah,
view
you
as
do.
well.
You
Sometimes there
do.
is a grain of truth even
Yeah.
in what trolls are posting.
Yep.
And so this is a little bit. So I'm kind of still mulling if I'm actually gonna write story about that. But if I do, that's probably gonna be more about like stuff that you can still do with ECC, and especially since I'm developer, obviously for other developers who are maybe stuck with ECC systems at work, I just want to say just don't wait for S/4HANA because there are lots of things that are going to help you later, but you can also start learning in ECC. That's something that's considered obsolete, so you're not going to find like courses or anything on it, but it will just help you to bridge the gap because someone
Yeah.
going from, let's say, purely classic ABAP development and jump into rep, that's a huge gap. That's
That's
like
pretty big gap.
Grand Canyon
Yeah.
level. So instead, you can build your stepping stones or whatever analogy you want to use and learn like code based or data development first. I mean, you're not going to get much use
Hmm.
of it, but that's not the point. It's going to help you to bridge the gap in the knowledge and in the
Yep.
technology
Yep.
kind of level. So yeah,
Yeah.
just use what you can. Why not? And little bonus piece that's probably not worth of story of itself, but I just wanted to show it to you because it follows on what we talked about in one of the previous conversations, where we talked about, oh, you know, those enterprise architects who are just sitting there, just, you know, blah
They're
blah blah
just
blah,
dreaming into
and yeah,
space.
and
Yeah.
have not done anything in like years. So that's exactly what this person pointed out. There is a huge disconnect between architects who never really build systems and the developers who have to live with their designs. So I could not agree more. It's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, there's definitely disconnect there. So yeah,
Yeah.
really
And
good
like
post.
those architects who's like first implement a Turing machine. That doesn't
Yeah,
like you're like, whoa, buddy, like you're not even like in the same
yeah,
multiverse as me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I totally agree with his frustration that over-engineered solutions that look great on paper, but collapse under real-world
Yeah.
constraint. Definitely
Yep.
happens. Awesome. All right, so
Yeah.
that's all for me, and towards you,
Okay.
Paul.
Let me share. So Workday has been having their like annual
Yeah,
like
conference or something.
love fest or whatever that they that like Sapphire.
Kool-Aid
Cool.
drinking.
Yeah. Hey, big before you take your seat, just take this drink with you to your seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been kind of watching this stuff for the last couple of years, and like everyone, of course, is just like pooping their pants for AI agents
Yeah.
and stuff like that all
Yeah.
the time. And I starting to notice something. I'm starting to sort of develop some like empathy for some of these architects, not these architects who are off in space, but the enterprise architects who have to like live with stuff
Yeah.
that happens. Because here's the thing. Workday and Microsoft are announcing a partnership or whatever, just like everybody does with everybody
Yeah.
at every conference. Like seriously, it would be incredible to create a graph of like the big software vendors who announce
Mm.
partnerships with each other
Yeah.
at every major thing, and then they have a video from some VP or whatever
Yeah.
at their conference, and then the same thing goes the other way around at their other conference, and like it's completely. And then most of the time, like if you were to look back, just even just at the Sapphire ones, if you were to look back and like make a mental or a note about like, oh, they brought Satya Nadella
Yeah.
or Sundar Pichai from
Yeah.
Google and talked about whatever in this, and then like track forward from there, like what actually happened,
Yeah.
you'd be like, oh, so that was a nothing burger then, I
Yeah.
guess, right? So this is this is Workday announcing a collaboration. Like, wow, Thank you for telling us that you collaborated. But like helping organizations securely manage AI agents
Mm,
across their platforms. So instantly I'm thinking, okay, so Workday wants to manage people and agents across platforms. Does that mean that Workday wants to manage Joule and
yeah.
Copilot and
Yeah.
whatever Oracle has in that world
Mm,
and whatever whoever else has? Like, and then does Copilot want to manage this thing? Right?
mm.
At some level, are like at some level, there's just like a giant. You know how like, do you ever hear about like sometimes during snake mating season, you will find like a
Yeah,
giant
like
pit of
G&J.
snakes
Yeah,
just
yeah.
collected in a giant ball of
Yeah, there's
like
some name about
writhing
it. I
whatever.
forgot. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
forget
I
what it's
know what you're
called.
talking about.
Yeah, right. But it at some point, all of the vendors and their agent things are just that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just uh, uh, so managing and securing agents across different systems is a real challenge. Yeah, and like,
No shit,
are you?
Sherlock.
Yeah, no shit. And are you adding to the problem or are you helping the problem here, right? Because like I assume that if I do this, I have to be using Workday to begin with,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
So
Yeah.
like all of this stuff is like how do I put this? Like it's some combination of like the writhing snake mating thing and the Ouroboros where like the snake eats its tail
Yeah.
repeatedly for eternity, right? Or the monster, whatever the Ouroboros is.
Yeah.
But like AI agents are like everyone is losing their minds over because how do I put this? There's a huge difference between the pockets of places where those things are useful and real and awesome
Mm,
and where the vendors are just like going hog freaking wild over
mm,
promising you the moon with
mm,
all of the stuff. Agent Force, Copilot, Joule,
mm,
all this kind of stuff. Like there is a difference between what is useful and what is promised in
mm,
all of these things.
mm,
And so like you as a customer of any or all of these platforms, you cannot just hand the keys to Workday or Microsoft or whatever.
mm,
Like the promises are bigger than the reality. The reality is real, but the promises are bigger than the reality. And you have to like be able to say for yourselves, for your company, where do the promises meet the reality of my needs? And you can't just like kick that ball out of off your pitch, right?
mm.
Uh you can't give up the you can't give up your control of that because everyone's promising more than they can deliver on this stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's somewhere in that mess is what I want to write about and complain about and shake my fist at the sky about
And I have
there.
a working title for your story already,
Oh,
like
awesome.
AI agents, one big snake orgy. So that's good.
That's pretty good. Snake. Okay.
And by the way, I
Yeah,
just just wanted didn't want to interrupt you, but you noted correctly that those announcements of one company working with another company, they happen
every
all the
time.
time. And in
All the
SAP
time.
world, it was kind of almost running joke at some point because at TechEd, every other year they would have like Microsoft on stage and we're announcing partnership with Microsoft. And everyone's like, again, like you did
Aren't
it already. Like what happened with that? Like,
aren't you
did
already
you,
partners? Yeah.
yeah, like, did you like get divorced in the meantime and now you're remarrying, or is this like renewal of the vows? Like, what's the situation here? Like, we don't get it. And I think one of my most popular posts ever on Twitter was during TechEd that commenting on that announcement and saying that finally we're gonna get like Excel downloads from ABAP. And funny enough, we never really got much help from Microsoft there. It was ABAP to XLSX community project that took care of it. So there you go, folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. This one is there's been a lot of
Mm,
a little buzz here and there from the like techno dorks in the SAP world about MCP servers for Fiori and for CAP and for UI5 stuff
mm,
that SAP is announcing. And those things are like, hey, those things are really cool and helpful. And like, I think if you're doing this stuff and you're using like Claude Desktop or whatever, or you're sort of rolling your own tools, you should use them. Those are, I think they
Mm,
really help you to do your development and that kind of stuff. Um, there's something missing in this business here.
mm,
I really want there to be an SAP provided SAP Notes MCP,
mm.
right? Because if you
Yeah.
use ChatGPT or whatever to like help you do like a deep research or research some kind of like thing you want to go after,
Mm,
and and the agent that goes and searches the web and like compiles information for you finds a reference to an SAP note. The only information it can get is those dumb little summary things
mm.
and not the full
Yeah.
details of the
Yeah.
note, because that's
Yeah.
behind the SAP for me login,
Yeah.
which I don't understand why that's that way,
Yeah.
but it is. And like my working with either Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT deep research things that uncover those things that, well, hey, maybe some nerd out there has written like a longer blog post and included like technical details about some particular node or whatever. That's really helpful. That's great.
Mm,
But the SAP door is locked.
yeah.
And I think that should not be the case. I think SAP should make that kind of information, which is not, it's like, I don't view SAP notes as like the core IP of
Yeah.
SAP.
Yeah.
Maybe SAP disagrees with that, but like I don't view them that way. I think that just by searching Google or using an agent to search the web and help you do stuff, you should be able to see the whole bit of that either yourself or
Yeah.
the AI can like put it together and like
Yeah.
give you more details and get you there,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. Many people in like wider community have been asking about this for many years.
Yeah.
Because like I said, yeah, you can find Node in Google, but there is no information.
Yeah.
And people are saying, okay, even if you don't want to make expose like the correction notes, and honestly, that's okay with me because I mean, who cares? That's where you
Yeah.
really need more access. But at least there are lots of KBA notes and just
Yeah.
general
Yes.
guidance, general information. What's even more ironic is some of those notes actually refer back to SAP community posts. So
Yeah.
it's like we're contributing to that, and then you're not giving us information back. Like what's up with that? So it's
Yeah.
feels unfair. I mean, to say
Yeah.
the least. So once again, I've been talking about this for years and I don't understand the reason. And SAP never even provided any reasons. They never actually commented in any way on all those kind of calls to open up SAP note
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
So I don't. So if anyone if anyone is like, dear executive board members, if you're listening, you're not doing yourself any favors
No.
by hiding this information. And
No.
yeah, again, totally. If there is some stuff that you feel it's not appropriate to expose, yeah, definitely. No one really wants like the whole like millions of SAP nodes, but some stuff that's purely informational, you even already have KBA designation. So there isn't
Yeah.
really analysis needed. Just
Yeah.
designate as KBA and that's it, and just expose it so that
Yeah.
I can read it on Google. So
Yep.
I think you should totally do that as a gesture of goodwill. So
Please,
yeah.
please, SAP, make all of our lives easier. I mean,
Please.
I can see that they probably, at this point, they probably want to use it to like make the Joule for consultants
Yeah,
thing
for
better.
themselves.
So
Yeah, but
at this point, maybe it's a
I
lost
mean,
cause, but like
yeah,
whatever. Get
yeah,
we can't at least we can't give up the never give up the fight, never
yeah,
surrender.
exactly.
You know the okay, so there's that. Then the other thing, I don't have a thing, but I want
Hmm.
Yelena, I want to ask you because like this is a thing that I'm because I know we've talked about this for a while
Hmm.
too, in various different ways and stuff, but I kind of am trying to boil it down to something that's like enough for a smaller write-up to be worthwhile.
Hmm.
The question is, so I work a lot with people who are like incredible software developers
Hmm.
who are not in the SAP realm.
Hmm.
They are from Silicon Valley and other parts of the world and
Hmm.
like things like that where they have these amazing skills which are utterly not like SAP related skills.
Hmm.
And I can definitely see some differences, not huge, but some
Mm,
differences in like what is valued, what is real, what is whatever
mm,
in that. The question I have for you is, and for anybody, and that I'm trying to answer for myself too, is like, what makes an amazing SAP like techno developer person? Like what is it what makes somebody who's really great at that? And is
mm,
that different than, you
mm,
know, out there in the world doing other stuff?
mm.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
So what makes a person? I, I would say that there are two types, I would say, of developers in SAP world. And one type, it's less common, I think, just because of type of work that they do typically.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are more like those non-SAP developers who are more kind of high-level developers versus SAP specialists. And they typically work maybe for companies that create like add-ons
mm,
and that type of thing, or very specialized solutions, and they just don't need broad knowledge of SAP functionality. It's just
right.
because that's not what they do. So for them, purely development skills, they are just more valuable. For the rest of us, like regular guys and girls developers, it's super important to have some kind of functional knowledge. And that is, I think, what makes ABAP or probably SAP developer at large job super difficult because there is only that much time in the day and there is only that much honestly we can hold in our head as well. Um,
Mhm.
and SAP work requires so much technology knowledge that sometimes maybe more like super duper development skills they kind of go to wayside. So at some point you just have to decide like what you have time what you have time to learn.
Yeah,
But when you have a project, especially something that's kind of not straightforward, where maybe functional people don't know themselves exactly what they want
yeah,
or how it works, that's where it's just hugely valuable to have some kind of more of what's usually perceived as functional knowledge for developers. So this is where I think that's probably the major differentiator because for other like developers outside of SAP, that's just not the thing at all. And that's why many people who just try to jump on SAP and go like gun ho, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come in with my patterns, PO, but then they're like, what the hell is VBAC? And like what's going on? And yeah, they just get lost very quickly. So so to me, it's like if you're a developer who is working like purely like writing programs that maybe are not like linked, so they're not sales report, then for you it's hugely important to have like great development knowledge and everything like latest and greatest, like unit tests.
yeah,
I mean, latest and greatest for SAP. For others, that's like years ago. So that
yeah,
that's hugely
yeah.
important. For them, it's just not as significant. But for others, if you have like no functional knowledge whatsoever, you just
You can't get anywhere.
it's yeah, it's like someone will need to be helping you, and that becomes a problem
Yeah,
eventually. So,
yeah. Okay. Because I think I see it. I think I see something similar going on where there's like, how do I put this? In a typical SAP, especially like app development, systems development is different, but
mhm,
like app development, like even if you were making like an entirely new, like let's just say Fiori app
mhm,
with the UI5 front end stuff and the ABAP or OData or
mhm,
RAP or whatever back end
mhm,
stuff, like even in that case, it would be a huge mistake to like ignore what's already there in the system and
yeah,
just make your own thing.
yeah,
Huge mistake.
yeah,
And that I think is possibly the difference where it's like us, for those of us SAP folks, or when you spend your time in the SAP realm, it's like I think maybe the people who come from other places maybe don't understand just how much analysis goes into the
yeah,
upfront stuff
yeah,
before you write line one of any
yeah,
code
yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah. That's
Like
for sure.
the crazy links that we go to, to like identify the right enhancement points or whatever
Yeah.
to do something is that I think blows people's minds when I show people what goes into what like these amazing engineers who are outside the SAP realm, when I
Mm.
show them what goes into like constructing an enhancement of any kind in SAP
Yeah.
or whatever, they're like, wow, so you like it's so much more analysis. Even for a developer, it's so much more analysis
Yeah.
than it is like constructing from whole cloth a new
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
entirely.
Yeah.
Like it's like certainly there are Java engineers out there who are dealing with like a crazy huge code base and they have to be very careful. But like
Mm.
for a lot of people, they have the sort of the freedom to
Mm.
invent things along the way that SAP developers don't have. Like
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah. And fu funny enough, so you mentioned like engineers and analysis, and I just remembered, um, there there is official kind of designation of the job role, and when I just started with SAP, it was typically programmer. So there was a software developer or application developer, software engineer. And these are, even though everyone thinks it's like all the programmers are the same, they are technically at least slightly different kind of professions in a way. So there is some commonality, but they do have different tasks. And funny enough, when I started with mainframe first and then switched over to SAP, for a while my official job title was programmer analyst. And that actually, there is Department of Labor in the US. I'm sure every company, every country has some kind of department like that. So they have official list of professions that they use for like work visa purposes specifically. And programmer analyst in that list was different from, let's say, plain programmer profession. And now thinking about what you said, I think, to be honest, that programmer analyst is probably perfect description for what ABAP developers do,
Yeah, I
because
think so.
it's definitely kind of combination of these
Yeah.
two two kind of jobs, and
Yeah.
yeah, doing a lot of prep work. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good observation.
So somewhere in that realm, I think I want to write something, but
So somewhere
I
there's
don't
a
know
story.
something about all the stuff we just talked about. But I'm not 100% sure yet though
Yeah,
what the exact angle is. But
yeah,
it's been on my mind as I've been working a lot with on kind of both sides of the fence here and
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my
Awesome.
stuff.
Bring us some news from the other side of the fence, Paul. It's always interesting to read.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, folks. So this is it. So you've heard this exciting discussion, and subscribe and like, and subscribe to newsletter, and read it next week. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.